Fraud or icon? This Tudor Ranger is reviewed by the community today. You've made the challenges and I had to answer. Let's see how it went. This Ranger was removed from the Tudor catalog, and we will see across this video that there are pros and cons extracted from your curiosities. And identity-wise, Adam asked, is the finishing of the Tudor suitable for a tool watch that it claims to be? Well, Adam, this is the first thing that I noticed. I previously owned, shot and reviewed the Black by GMT, the Black by 58, the Tudor Pelagos, even the Tudor Chronograph. And I want to tell you guys that the finishing of this Ranger feels more refined. The brushing and the details, the rose on the crown, feels better embossed. To make an analogy, I would say that the Black by line is some sort of a McDonald's, a standard of quality that everyone is used with and is comfortable to pay for. But it has the same feeling and the same taste all the time. Where the Ranger feels like an artisanal burger made by a chef, it feels that the investment in the quality pays off, and you can notice these details in the watch. We have brushed facets, we have a slightly boxed crystal, a big legible dial, and a flat appearance on the wrist. I would say that these are the characteristics of an Explorer, a watch that is resistant to shocks, magnetic fields, war resistance, and many more. Now, design-wise, it is true, the case is a bit unbalanced, in the sense that the lugs are very thin and the rounded case takes over and the famous oyster case pretty much fades. And you will read on the wrist a rounded dial, where the thin lugs disappear. Possibly besides the size of it, this is an aspect that puts away a lot of people to own it. Now, history-wise, Gabs87 is asking, has it ever been used by someone famous? How does it compare to other watches? Well, Gabs, based on my research, the Tudor Ranger wasn't like the Rolex Explorer famous for the Everest explorations. Apparently, the Tudor Ranger was built differently, and it was being created after Tudor experienced some of the watches in the extreme difficult conditions in the early 50s, where Great Britain missioned 30 military and civilian scientists to explore Greenland with 26 non-modified Tudor Oyster Prince 7809. So this is how the Ranger was born in 1960 but launched officially in 1969. As a profile of the watch, the Ranger has a genuine Explorer profile, like the Explorer, the Aquaterra, the Ball Engineer. Simple watches with solid features but resistant in difficult environments. Now Brian asked, is there a story behind the Ranger name, or are there any whispers of a reboot? Well, Brian, I'm pretty sure it was a strategic decision to remove it from the collection because it wasn't among the best sellers. Also, the model itself, as you said, it needed a reboot to match the current trends, but I'm pretty sure not in the next 3 or 5 years. I think Rolex will decide what will they do with these Explorers, if they will coexist for both Rolex and Tudor, or they will leave available the Explorer on the crowned brand. And the Cosmic Enforcer also asked if it will blend. Well, yes, it is after all a safe and a sober design, very legible. They tuned up the movement, trying to offer that complete everyday watch on the wrist. And Owl29 said, my avatar is also a Ranger, a Strider. Well, God bless Tolkien, Mrs. Strider. My precious. And John was curious to know if the Ranger is pretty in person because pictures can be deceiving. What does deceiving mean? Deliberately caused to believe something that is not true, especially for personal gain. Firstly, this is a Tudor made in the old school way and not like the McDonald's Black Pies. They are very cool, like a combination of a luxury sport watch and a tool. Yes, in person it looks way better than in flesh. And yes, it looks very dull and boring in the videos or pictures, obviously except for mine. And as general specs, this Ranger has a 41mm case with a generous dial, very legible, some thin lugs that measure from tip to tip 48mm, a height of 12mm and a lug width of 22mm. We have a box sapphire crystal and a solid crown that ensures 150 meters war resistance. And movement wise, we have a challenge from Steve. What does Tudor do to their ETA movements? Well, cheers to you, Steve. Interesting, this watch is equipped with the Tudor caliber 2824, and I own quite a few ETA 2824 movements, and I have to admit the winding and the setting of the hour on this Ranger feels different. It feels refined, and when you action the crown, the hands are providing a specific weight and provides that unitary feel on the crown rotation. Definitely Tudor upgraded this Tudor caliber 2824. Firstly, they added a new balance cock. And secondary, they made an update on the Triavis system, which functions pretty much the same with the old piece that replaces. However, the way the watchmaker regulates the movement is a bit different. And the third change is the Inca block shock absorber that was replaced with a KIF one. Rolex is using KIF parts for a long time now, so it's kind of a natural choice. And I'm either deaf or I can't hear the rotor spinning on this piece. And a good friend of mine, Razvan, has an interesting challenge. Is it true that there is a date disc beneath the dial? Well, as you know, Razvan, it is a true practice. A lot of watchmakers, even though they do not offer the date feature, they still add the full 2824 movements with the date discs in the cases. You can easily test that on the 2824 no date, moving twice the hour hand to past 12 o'clock, and if you hear that specific tick date change means that it has it. And in this case, fortunately, there is none. Also, knowing the changes made by Tudor to this caliber, I am almost 100% that there is no date wheel there. And moving a bit with the focus on the dial, as I said, it is very legible, it is very opened. The 12, 3, 6 and 9 numerals are very well defined, blending beautifully with the secondary bar indexes. As an identity, we have the rose logo, also that smile iconic self-winding text. These are some elements that I doubt we will see in the future Tudors. The iconic hands are kept on this model as a throwback to the iconic RAF watches that had the same clear and distinct minute and hour hand. And Thin Smoke was curious to know how strong is the lume on this Ranger. Well, based on my experience, there are 3 types of lume proposed by the brand. To give you an example, the Black by GMT has a medium green lume that fades. And then there is the bright reactive green lume implemented on the Black by 58, and I was really impressed by the intensity of it. Also the Chromalight of Rolex, and I guess it is an improved Swiss Superluminova that is bright and very well applied on the Pelagos. And the Ranger lume is somewhere on the GMT level. It takes a while to ignite it with a flashlight and it fades pretty fast, so definitely not a thing to be impressed with. And Panaristiman said that this is a great watch and you can't go wrong with this piece. Well, it is indeed, even though there might be some critique here and there, I think this Ranger is worthy of the shielded brand, unlike the Black Buys. And Michael is interested to know why is the Ranger twice as much as the 1926 model. Firstly, to my knowledge, Michael, the 1926 is destined to be a dressy Tudor. No lume, it has some sort of diamonds. The facets are simpler, the investment in the case seemed to be lesser expensive. Inside we have an unmodified ETA 2824, even a Selena. So I guess this is the price reasoning between these two models. Dider Isavi said that, sorry for the pronunciation, but I'm from here. He said that this is a caricature of an Explorer. Well, can't disagree with you here. If we put side by side these models, knowing their history together, you might say that this is truly a caricature. But I think Tudor wanted to ensure a slightly different identity for this Ranger, and probably because of that, today the Ranger is not a top seller on the line, and as a result it was removed from the collection. And Tim was really firm here. No end links, really? Well, exactly, this is what I was thinking. Supposedly we are talking about a tough watch that features a strong bracelet, but without end links. The bracelet feels anyway too solid for the case in my opinion. The case should have been way thicker for these links. However, this combo without the end links was launched by Rolex in 1953, where the Oyster Perpetual Explorer 6350 was born. But I do have to tell you, with this Oyster bracelet, you really feel safe, also very comfortable. It is very well built, similar to the Black Buys because they basically share the same clasp. Well, that was it for today guys, and remember, this type of Q&A review was made firstly on Brave Beaters. And now, if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing for future creative updates. God bless my English, and until next time, be brave but stay safe.